Okay, so I prepared two presentation. The other one is big data and evidence, also read by Professor Nicholas. But when I rehearsal for another one, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I decided to
That's
present
okay.
this
That's
one.
why class is for you to learn what you Nothing wrong about not knowing what.
Yeah, because another one is more like a conceptual paper, but this one is much easier for me to present because the reason why I choose this one because I'd like to do another interview, another survey for the visualization tool, and I find this paper actually also use the survey to find out the adoption and acceptance for new technology. For this paper, the new technology is as we all know, the continuous auditing system. So the motivation and the methodology for this paper. So the motivation is that the idea of the authors of this paper is that to investigate the adoption and acceptance of the continuous assurance. The authors of this paper believe that instead of use the generic survey on a large scale, which was presented by the TPMG before, the authors in this paper believe that they should use another more detailed interviews with more detailed, more deep questions, more open-ended questions in the research. And the methodology, as I mentioned, they use a direct interview with the internal auditors from actually 9 different firms, and they use a masked interview guide, which I'm going to talk about later. So the data source, actually the sample of the interview is 9 different companies, 1 insurance company, 2 banks, 2 technology firms, and 4 consumer goods companies. And the 7 of those companies are actually listed in the Fortune 250 list. And they were considered to be experienced with the use of the continuous assurance systems. And as we see, they span a broad range of different kinds of business in the sample. So for the master guide survey model, the authors of this paper use the model we call the TAM model. It's an abbreviation of the technology adoption model. The model, the idea of model is that the acceptance of the new technology is driven by the user's attitude towards the technology, and the attitude can be classified into 2 different characteristics. The first one is PU, perceived usefulness. The other one is PEU, the perceived ease of use. In my own opinion, it's the idea of this model is like to test the users whether they think the new technology is effective to improve the procedure or is efficient to improve the procedure. In my opinion, it's like it's like a question regarding the effectiveness and the efficiency of the new technology. It's my own opinion to this explanation. So, regarding the adoption.
Randy, I want to say something for you. Never go on a paper and say, my opinion is.
Okay.
Because if you write it in the paper, it is your opinion. You don't have to say, don't say that. You don't have to say. Also, other thing that people do often in manuscript. The famous article by Professor Randy says, don't do that. Say what it says between brackets. Randy 2019. Okay? So, when you make a presentation, it's your opinion. It's fine. It's supposed to be your opinion. That's why you write in the paper. Okay? It's just, you are novices in writing papers, and you always do this kind of thing. Okay? And then put the name, the Randy, Lu, in his seminal paper, the long-term effect of continuous auditing upon the life of ants, etc., and you kind of extend it. You're writing a paper, you be succinct. Write very tightly if you can. Don't use expressions like expressions that are colloquial, a lot of, or something like that. Write tight. My dissertation advisor, Ted Mock, is fantastic. He can write directly to the point, everything. And what that does is make your referees like you much better. Yeah.
I have a question. I understand that, like, if you're presenting your work, you would not want to say, in my opinion. I agree with you, but I'm just curious, when you're doing something that's more of a critique, then is it okay to
Yeah, you are certain.
say it is,
you
in
are
my
writing
opinion,
it.
to separate
In the
your
critique
opinion
and
from
say
the author?
this Robert Anthony wrote is nonsense. Don't use the word nonsense. Use this incoherent logic or something like that. Nonsense is a little bit colloquial. It's your opinion. It's your opinion. It's very important in refereed articles. I mean, if you're writing for the Journal of Accountancy, you might want to be bombastic. You might want to write easy read stuff. But who wants to write for the Journal of Accountancy, right? I wrote several articles for them, but they, what they usually do, they pick up my writing and translate it into colloquialisms. Okay, so when you are writing, try to be as most direct you can, and don't, unless you are quoting Bible and Jesus Christ, okay, don't do this kind of long thing about seminal paper of this and that. Don't do that. It's a novice.
Okay. So before I go to next slide, I forget to talk something about
Randy, I'm not criticizing. It's very good that is your opinion. I'm just teaching you the best way to say it. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. So I forget to say something because actually the authors of this research designed a survey based on this TM model, but the difference is that they do not make a very strict questionnaire like true or false questions. Instead, they ask those internal auditors, those IT specialists, with some open-ended question, but still they based on this their questionnaire on those model, the idea of those model, to ask them about the usefulness and the easy of use of the continuous assurance, the new technology, the system. So then the author tests the adoption of the continuous assurance systems based on the very famous technological adoption life cycle model designed by Rogers in 1960s. And based on that model, the authors of this paper designed their own, the audit maturity model. Actually the same idea, same pattern, depending on, according to the famous model. So this is actually a picture of the famous model, but I won't find another picture. I remember I saw the picture in the Carlin meeting, but I failed. I cannot find a more complexity picture, so I just used this picture in the paper. Actually, the Rogers in 1960s, he divided the life cycle of new technologies into 5 different stages. The early stage, the R&D stage, then introduction, then growth, then maturity, then decline. Then the new technology become the old technology and then replaced by another one. So the technology of the different product, different system goes like this. It's like a bell-shaped circle. So based on this idea, this brilliant idea, the authors of this paper developed the audit maturity model for the new technology, continuous assurance audit, continuous assurance system. So, and also the author of this paper classified the model, the new technology into 8 different categories, and also each categories has their own circle. So overall, for the top one is the overall idea of the audit and maturity model stage. So the stage 1 is traditional audit, as we all know, which we are doing right now. Then the stage 2 is the emerging of the continuous assurance audit, then the maturing of continuous assurance audit, then the full continuous audit system appear. So this is kind of the cycle the research they developed in this paper. And then the research test based on the interview, based on opinion by those internal auditors to find which stage they are on right now of their companies. So the results show here. It's like a picture. So we can see that most of the companies, except this one, the bank number 1, most of them are still
Unibank.
yeah.
They're out of business, so I can mention who they are. They were bought by Itaú.
Only this is bank 1. Others, most of them are still on the stage 1, the traditional audit, and the stage 2, emerging audit. Only the bank 1, they are moved forward to the stage 3, even close to the stage 4. So the results of this paper actually is contrary to the results of KPMG based on the large-scale survey. In that survey, the KPMG states that most of the company right now actually going forward develop a kind of continuous assurance system of their own company, but depending on this research, the authors find that most of the companies still on the early stage, on the introduction stage of the continuous assurance system. So this is the result of this survey. And also, in the last part of this paper, also mentioned something, some characteristics that the company, how the company apply the continuous auditing system in the company, like how this, it's like what kind of specific area the company should pay attention to regarding the developing of the new system. Okay, this is the paper. So yeah. So if you want to learn how to do a survey about the adoption and acceptance of the new technology, it's a very, very good paper for you to learn. Because I think for the newbie like me, it's very hard for me to write a conceptual paper. So this is actually a very good paper for me to learn to get started. All right, thank you.
Okay, now